Kia ora, my name's Melanie Cheung and I'm a neurobiologist. I work at the University of Auckland, the University of Waikato, and I've been doing some work in San Francisco as well at the Brain Plasticity Institute. In May this year I'm going to be going to San Francisco to work with a gentleman called Professor Michael Mersnick, and he is a pioneer in the area of neuroplasticity. He was also the leader of one of the teams in America that developed the cochlear implant, so he's had a lot of commercial success. And the work that I'm going to be doing with him is developing a brain training program for people that have Huntington's disease. And so basically what he has found is that your brain can change in its structure according to the functions that you use to stimulate it. And so they developed this brain training, which is a little bit, it seems like a computer game, although it's not, it has a purpose. But what they're doing is trying to get parts of the brain to work, and then through stimulating those parts of the brain through function, there's this adage that is like neurons that fire together wire together, and this means that if you can get a group of neurons to function together, then you can strengthen a pathway. They've helped 5 million children with dyslexia learn how to read just through working on their attention and their memory and their visual and auditory processing. I actually have an interesting background around becoming a scientist. I did a little bit of a science degree, and then I worked for a while in hospitality, and I went back to finish my degree when I was in my mid-20s. I started to work on a tutoring program actually for Māori students to teach them about biology, and that's when I fell in love with research. And basically I got the opportunity to do a summer internship at the School of Biological Sciences with a guy called Garth Cooper, who studies diabetic heart disease. He said, well, you know, tell me what you want to do with your life. And I said, oh, I think I want to be a professor. I think I want to do research and stuff. And so he told me, if you want to be a professor and you want to do research, you're going to have to do a PhD. So I chose Huntington's disease as a specialist area because it's genetic. It's also dominant, it gets in these families, and you know, they have a lot of difficulties. I felt really moved by, you know, having this disease that you could possibly pass on to your children. So I've been very lucky in the work that I do. I kind of do a lot of really diverse things, and because I did all that early ethics kind of stuff, I do a little bit of work around ethics as well. It was in 1993, there was a really large team, about 127 people were working to try and find the gene for Huntington's disease, and it was found in 1993, which is like 20 years ago. And what's been really quite interesting was everyone was kind of like, wow, if we find the gene, then we're going to be able to find the cure. But we haven't been able to yet. It's almost like the ultimate mystery where you kind of like going, come on, we've got to figure this out. And I think that my early work was around mechanisms and trying to figure out things like what parts of the cells get sick, how they get sick and how they start to die and they affect the rest of the brain. But the work that I'm doing now, I'm trying to be more focused on finding solutions. So, okay, the brain gets sick, we know that. My neuroplasticity work is about saying, well, are there ways that we can help the brain, stimulate the brain, strengthen and build new pathways to prevent the cells in the brain from dying off and making people sick? The other thing that's really cool about it is it's one of the only kind of treatments for brain diseases that is not drug-based. And so there's this idea that with pharmaceuticals, they're not really specific. I mean, you know, you take a drug and, you know, if it was something like a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which is like Prozac, your brain just basically floods with a whole lot of serotonin. It's not really specific. But the idea with the neuroplasticity work is that we're trying to harness these natural processes of strengthening these pathways, and what you're doing is you're engaging the brain's natural chemical pathways of neurotransmitters and growth factors to kind of do the job. So you're trying to stimulate the brain's own pharmaceutical kind of stores to fix itself. And it's very specific because you can engage different parts of the brain using different kind of exercises. The work that we're doing with our brain training, it's a computer and it's all online. So you log into a website and, you know, depending on what your login is will depend on what what program that you get. And so obviously our Huntington's patients will get a specific Huntington's program. And then, you know, it's things like the attention stuff is about, you've got a circle and it's separated into like 16 pieces, and they flash a bird up for so many milliseconds, and you have to choose which one of those sections the bird was in. But then, you know, it gets faster and faster and faster and faster, and then you have to try and so it's not just measuring your eyesight attention, it's also measuring like your reactions on the computer as well. For me, one of the greatest things about being a scientist is you get to travel a lot. So I haven't had a full winter in New Zealand for 6 years, because you get to go to conferences in Europe and America, and you know, for my postdoc that I'm doing at the moment, I spent 3 months working at a lab in Rockefeller University in New York, and that was just really cool to kind of be living in New York and doing science. And it was kind of really funny, because I'm like, part of me was like, I just wanted to be in the lab all the time because I had some really interesting science I was doing, and another part of me was like, oh my god, I want to go out and just be hanging out in New York. But so I've been really, really lucky that I've managed to spend quite a bit of time like in San Francisco, in New York, and there's an institute in Seattle at the University of Washington called the Indigenous Wellness Research Institute that I also spent 3 months working with them. And, you know, I'm uncanny, so I always choose winter, New Zealand winter, American summer to go over and do some work. Yeah, so it's a really good life if you're willing to put it in. And I mean, you never do the same thing in 2 days. It's a good life.